Um, Dear Ria, I have heard that you're called a Zen master. Can you tell me more about your background, where you're coming from? Is there any kind of tradition that's behind you that you can talk about?
Well, no, there's no tradition behind me. I have been called a Zen master for the reason that I have certain faculties, certain qualities that makes me into a master. But there's no tradition. I don't come from the tradition Zen, nor do I come from any Buddhist religion, nor do I come from any other religion. That doesn't mean that I'm not a religious person. I'm definitely a religious person. I definitely have God as a very strong presence within my life. It's the God's force that is the healing force in the first place. Yet, the way I work and the reason I've been called a master is totally new. It has not been done before. All the traditions that have been will disappear, and they will disappear pretty soon. I don't know if you've heard, but there are people that say that the Pope will be the last Pope, the Dalai Lama will be the last Dalai Lama. This all has to do with that our world needs to change, and this has to do with this new kind of consciousness that we are aiming for, which means it's not really a new kind of consciousness in the deepest sense of the word, but it's new for humans as they have not had the possibility before to actually become conscious, each person as an individual. Before it was more groups. It has been groups because of a certain tradition that they would follow that might have had to do with their religion. There were groups that were together and were aiming for a certain kind of consciousness because they were coming from the same ancestors, so it was like a kind of a family thing. That all is going. It's not important anymore whether a person comes from a certain religion, whether a person comes from a certain family, from a certain race. Every single individual has the possibility to become more aware, to gain more consciousness. And that, it is the aim of the time that we are living in. And that is where I come in and help people to achieve that. That is different from anything that has ever been. So for that reason, there's no traditions that can be used because it won't work, because it's totally new.
Ria, is there anything we can do ourselves apart from your guidance? I mean, as an individual at home, in our own private sphere?
Absolutely. The first thing to do is to realize that each person needs to take the full responsibility for themselves and their actions. So which means anything we do has an impact on the rest of the world. It has an impact on our family. So if I realize that if I'm not feeling well today, but I don't take it out at my family, and I control myself, and I do something else to get rid of my bad mood, I'm taking responsibility. It's a way of consciousness. It helps everybody else to feel better. If my conduct is proper conduct, I will help other people to actually feel better. If I make people feel better, they're more receptive. If people are more receptive, they are more willing to take on their own responsibility. They are opener to listen to what is said to them, which can actually help them through then. It makes them also want to follow the example of the right conduct. Because that's the only thing in the end that's really convincing, is when a person behaves properly. Anybody that is not behaving rightly is not very convincing. It also means that if we start to realize that we are part of our environment, So we take the responsibility of what we use, what we wear, that we don't become products ourselves of our society of consuming, and we realize that the sweater that I'm wearing might be 10 years old, but it's still very useful and it's still giving me an image of a well cared for person. I can still use that. I don't need to buy a new one of the latest fashion. So I'm not a victim or a product of this society that bit by bit we have built up with for the wrong reasons. At the same time, if I use a detergent that is good for the environment and not bad, I'm doing something for all of us, which is important too. And if all that works together and people see that that's how I'm living, then I become a very convincing person in my example. And people will follow an example. They will not follow a teacher that just talks.
Okay. What you're saying, you're asking people to take responsibility and to be conscious of how they are living. Is there, apart from that, I'm thinking now in terms of meditation, is there a necessity for people to take time to meditate, to become more aware, like to become more aware so they can be more aware about what they're doing in their life? Is there a need to integrate meditation as a part of their life, or
not necessarily? No. I know many people, personally even, that do meditation for a long time, that have them as a discipline in their life, and they don't make very many steps in advancing. I've also seen people that don't even know what meditation is and are actually spiritually seen of a very high level because they live what they know. Because most people know that a proper conduct is really very important, and yet they don't live it. That is more important than sitting down every day for an hour in meditation. I don't want to say that meditation is not good. I don't want to say that in meditation one cannot achieve something. But meditation, just by itself, is not a way to become a better person, is not a way to become enlightened. That's not the way.
Thank you.